episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate in not finishing games Final Fantasy podcast. I am your host, Kaleb Schweiss.
I am Joe, and I started sneezing like crazy right before. Okay. I'm Joe.
And today we will not be reviewing Vagrant Story because neither of us really played it too much in the last 7 days stretch. Well, it wasn't even 7 days. It was like like 4.
I said that last week. I said I probably wasn't going to be able to beat it because of my work week, and that's still that was in fact the case.
Yeah, I played a bit of it yesterday and then throughout the week, but yesterday I got. So I've been looking at the guide just to kind of get a gauge as where I'm going, because now it's like, okay, I can tell where I need to go. It's pretty straightforward. I'm in the final zone, or at least in the zone before the final zone, so I know where I need to go to get to where I need to be. And I fought a guy, and the guy that I was looking at on IGN is like, this is one of the hardest guys in the game, and I trucked him. I just mowed him down because I took time.
Okay,
right.
Tell me.
Let's go from the beginning.
Tell me your
strategy. I was super sick on my last few days off, and I was hanging out with Jake, because that's what you do when you're sick. You
hang out with friends.
You hang out with friends to get them sick, because it goes away when it infects another person. It's like a weird virus host scenario, even though it's totally a bacterial problem, probably, or just a fucking sinus infection, which I'm pretty sure that's what it is, and will continue to be, because I can't go to the doctor. I don't have any insurance. But
why don't you have any insurance?
Because I'm not paying for insurance that doesn't cover anything. Soon I'll have it, though. I'm pretty sure they're going to make me a real boy soon, which is crazy.
They're going to make you a made man?
That's right, yeah. I'm going to take my omerta and stuff it right up their asses.
You mean you're going to join the union?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I'm going to get a real post office job, I'm pretty sure, because they were super understaffed.
Awesome.
But what happened was, I get past this boss, I get into the new zone, I'm like, yes, second to last area in the game, Limestone Quarry, we're doing this, it's happening, the game is mine. I walk in, there are these bat enemies, they're called like imps or something, I don't know what they are, they're fucking nuts, man, like I could not hit them, they cast silence on me, so like I can slowly whittle away at them and doing like 12, 15 damage at a time. But it's just not enough because I can't cure myself. And then when you leave, you come back in and silence is gone, but you don't have enough mana regen, and they're right next to the door, and they cast silence on me again. So I was like, first I got super pissed, and I was like, fuck this, man. I'm done with this game. I can't beat it. It's just too brutal. Like, these are just regular enemies. Like, what's going to happen when I get to a boss? An actual boss in this area? I'm going to get fucking mowed down. And so I was like, screw this. And I went and I saved. And then first what I did is I tore apart all my weapons. I went to the blacksmith, and I just like in rage just ripped everything to pieces. And I was like, fuck this. And then I threw a couple things back together, trying to get like a better setup, right?
Better set of weapons.
Yeah, and I kind of improved a little bit, but then Jake remembered something as he was hanging out with me. He was like, aren't there little dummies in the game that you can like go and like practice on? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I looked it up, and there are dummies in the game, and I think I might remember finding one.
I played around with one early on.
Yeah, and so what I did was I went to the one for beasts, and I just made a blunt weapon, because that was going to be the weakness to these stupid fucking flying imp dudes.
You found out what the weaknesses were?
Oh, I knew what it was. I just didn't have a blunt beast weapon. My beast weapon was edged.
Okay.
So I was like, fuck it. I built a blunt beast weapon. It's not that powerful, I don't think. I mean, it is now. And I sat and I ground out at 100 affinity for the beast, and I went in there and I fucking laid down the law on those things. I fucking ruined those guys. And so So
that's the way to do it. If you come across some guy that you're weak against, find out what type of weapon you need, make that weapon, go fight that dummy.
Yeah.
And then you're going to lay waste.
Yeah, my save file is like ridiculously long now, too. And
wait, how long did it take to get up to 100 infinity?
It was some time. It was like an hour or so.
But you're just smashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just reinitiate the attack over and over and over. And then the dummy eventually breaks, but you just have to teleport away to a completely different zone and then come back, and it'll be there. So
a good thing for the teleportation spell.
yeah. It's a good place to use it. And like there's a guide I sent you the other day and saying like, hey, if you run into problems, go to these places. And most of them, I think I've gone to 3 of them, and they're on teleport stones. So like you teleport to them, and then you're at the next dummy. So that was great. And then I get past that, and I kind of get to the boss that's supposed to be really hard according to the guide. And all he did was he tries to debuff you.
Was he a beast?
He was a beast.
Oh, okay.
And I fucking destroyed him for it. But what he does is like he keeps casting Degenerate on you, and so I just keep casting like Heracles or Heracles
just to counter it over and over again.
And that was and then in the meantime I just beat the shit out of him with my insane blunt weapon, and he never even hit me. So I don't know how strong he is, but the guide's like, oh, this guy's brutal. And I just fucking mowed him down. Get past
tell the
him.
guide, you're stupid.
Yeah. Like, didn't you grind out forever on the dummy? You dummy. But and then I get past that. I fight an ice dragon, which sucks because I don't have the fire affinity spell. I don't know where I missed that, but like there's a spell that you can use to like up your weapon's fire affinity.
Huh.
Never found it, so I didn't have his weakness, but I was able to peg him down. And I didn't even really have a weapon that was like specialized in dragons. I just threw it on my human spear, the little dragon heart gem, and I was able to do enough to him to kill him off. And he was pretty easy. I haven't had trouble with bosses in like a long time in the game because I've started to build weapons.
Isn't that mostly what's left is bosses?
Yeah, that's pretty much the last dungeon. So I get past the ice dragon. I do some exploring. I finally figure out and look up the way to deal with the game's stupid puzzles and retarded platforming stuff. Like it's to the point where it's like there are blocks that have numbers and they'll disappear after a certain amount of numbers, and I try to jump up to the ledge with the rock on its last thing, and I miss, and then I try it one more time and I make it. And like it's just it's so inconsistent and so imprecise, and the fucking timing, like everything about the platforming in this game is shit.
I don't mind the platforming in this game. I haven't had a problem.
I think it's fucking stupid.
The view will kill you sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they made a platformer and they don't have a dynamic enough camera. It's just a stagnant piece of shit. And so like I can't tell where I'm supposed to go, and like
it's just wherever your eye's facing and you press forward.
No, I know, but the depth perception is like completely bad, and like it's just
I've only had trouble in one spot in the entire game.
There's one zone that I can't cross, and it was like over and over and over.
I'll have to review that zone myself, I guess.
So I get past that bullshit. I find a new area, and I get like some cutscenes and some goodies, and I see a save point across the way. And it's just this huge black chasm in between me and this save point. So I'm like jumping into it.
Yeah.
I'm jumping into it, trying to find like, okay, is there like a ledge here? Maybe is there a ledge over here? I do the trap revealing thing. It shows there's a trap kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So I try to jump to that. I can't make it to that. Over and over and over until I'm like almost dead. And then I was like, screw this, man. I'm like, I need to get to that fucking save point because I have done a lot of stuff since I last saved. So I look it up online. The guy's YouTube video that I find, he has the same exact problem. And then he walks all the way back to the previous save point. And I guess you could just teleport to that one, which is fucking stupid.
You were in that room.
Yeah. Wow. It's fucking dumb, though. You're like, oh, I don't need to cross the chasm. I could just teleport to that little spot up there. And it's like, why would they make that the thing? And then on the way back, I run into one of those fucking phantom guys that, like the guys that look like fucking ice cream candles or some shit.
Yeah.
And he does the one move, the like thunderstruck fucking move on me. And it did like 340 damage to me, and I just died. So I lost all of that progress, all of that puzzle, all of the pushing the blocks around.
You got teleported to a save point, it didn't save.
No, I didn't get teleported to it.
Oh.
I had to go backtrack, and I got killed by a guy as I backtracked because he one-shot me.
You. Okay.
So like I lost all of that like hour and a half
and
yesterday morning.
And that's when you pulled out the rest of your hair.
Yeah, I was pretty mad. I was like, God damn it, dude! I want to keep going, but like And the bosses aren't a problem, but the regular guys sometimes would be like, yeah, here's 400 damage. What can you do? The answer is nothing. The answer is nothing. So that was my progress this week. I did get further in the game. I just didn't get as far as I wanted to.
Oh, me too. I got slightly further in the game on Tuesday. And by slightly further, I mean I went up, killed the things I was having problems with, went back to the save point, tried it again, and of course died before I could get to the next save point. But at least I don't have to fight that fucking lich again.
Oh, those guys are still back there.
The mega lich, anyway. The other liches that just spawn normally, I do have to deal with still.
They can still kill you.
Yeah, I know. I know they can still kill me. They do. So, I'm on those guys. I promise, though, ladies and gentlemen, I promise that Vagrant Story will be beat by next week. I have no excuse.
Yeah, I'll have
at least on my end.
I'll have it done too. I have like Wednesday and Thursday, the lovingly.
We both worked a lot this week. I had consistently about 12-hour days. Wasn't as bad as the week before, but it was still about 12 hours. And I was exhausted at the end of the day. I didn't want to do shit. I didn't even watch a movie this week, Schweiss.
No movie at all.
No movie.
I watched 2 yesterday.
Wow. How many hours do you think you worked this week?
You mean since we last sat down?
I mean, since we last sat down, yeah.
For this show, not that many, but because I had the day we recorded last time off, and then the day after.
I guess that's how you got ahead. In the game, you had a little bit of time. All right.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it was the week before where you were getting brutalized.
It was, yeah. It was a lot. I mean, it was a lot of days straight is what it's been, which is fucking douche. And so I'm not really getting that many hours. I'm just being like, it's being stretched out.
But you might get, if you get this real post office job, you don't have to deal with this guy anymore.
Well, I do. I just get a set schedule.
Oh, God, a set schedule?
Yeah, and I get a raise, and I get benefits, so.
Nice.
It'll be a real job.
A set schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine?
Not really.
Dude, I don't know how people live. I don't know how people can, like, give someone a job and not give them a set schedule.
Well,
like, that drives me absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah, first, you have to fuck your cousin. This is based on my experience.
Okay.
What I'm seeing. You have to be a cousin fucker.
This is the person who makes the schedule.
And you have to have a son that has the same name as an employee that is under you. And whenever that son fails you by cheating on his cousin with another cousin, you have to punish the whipping boy whose name is also Caleb that is your employee instead of your son.
Wow.
I've come up with this deep theory that, like, his son... And here's the thing, like, his son's name is Caleb. So either he loves his son, and I'm a failure in his eyes, or he fucking hates his son. His son is a giant disappointment, and I happen to be Caleb. So I'm like fucked.
He loves his son,
way.
But he dislikes things about him. No.
That resonate within me deeply.
Yes. He loves his son, Caleb, and whenever he sees you, it's like he wants you to be even better than his son.
Which I probably am.
He expects more from you.
But not in his way.
Yeah, I just don't understand the not set schedule thing. I've had because I've had shitty jobs this whole time. And my thing is usually, in fact, every time I have been able to get the schedule I want. It may take a few weeks before I can manipulate people into giving me that schedule. But I have a track record of making these shitty jobs give me set schedules. So when I talk to friends of mine that like, oh, I don't know what my schedule is next week. Oh, I don't know it. Like, it's just next week. How do you not know what your schedule is? Like, that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And like, I remember working at the gas station at Maverick, and I had to do a couple overnights. I mean, I volunteered to do that, and I kind of wanted to move into the other guy's job, which I eventually got, so that I could have all overnights. And that was, of course, we talked about this at length of this show, I'm sure. There was a point where he scheduled me for a night shift, so it was 11 to 7, right, a.m.
Yeah.
And then he scheduled me for a morning shift. He gave me a day off and then scheduled me for a morning shift the next day. And I told him straight up, I said, no. I go, no. Here's the problem. Other people don't say no, I think. I think they're scared that they're not going to keep their their $8 an hour job if they say no to that. I go, no. You will kill someone if you do that. You can give me a shift that's near it, so you can give me the afternoon shift and then give me the night shift. But I'm telling you, unless I have a few days off, I'm not doing the morning shift against the night shift. That is not okay.
Yeah.
And I told him that, and I never got that shift.
Well, see, what happens with me is, what happened anyway. It doesn't happen anymore, but
you do have to weigh in, how in demand is the job versus what you're willing to put in. So I'm willing to take the shitty part of the day as long as I don't have to deal with the other shit. So you do have to kind of weigh all the options.
Well, yeah, and for me, what they would do over Christmas, they would schedule me at 6 p.m. Friday.
Right.
And I would work 12 hours until 6 a.m., and then they scheduled me at 2 p.m. Saturday. No day off, just 8 hours after I leave, I come in. And one of the days I was almost 2 hours late.
I would have said no.
I told him
I can't do that.
I told him not to do that anymore. I was like, look, man, if you want me to be here, you can't expect someone to come in 8 hours after they leave. I'm not tired when I'm done here. It's all physical.
This is why people who have night shifts die 10 years earlier than everyone else is because of this shit.
Yeah, it's because it's not just a night shift. It's a sometimes day after
night.
Yeah,
it's a swing and a night and a... Yeah, you can't do that.
So, yeah, I told him no, but he did it anyway. But the thing is the man doesn't care. And it's this weird prison sex mentality with him. It's well, they told me to pick up the soap and fuck me in the ass, so now you're going to have to pick up the soap and I'm going to fuck you in the ass.
Yeah.
And to me, it's well, the difference is I'm probably not going to feel you there, you little midget motherfucker. And secondly, I don't want to do that. I'm to me, it's I don't care what you had to deal with. I don't fucking care. I have a fair amount of patience, a surprising amount of patience given me and what I am and what I do. Surprising amount. But for that, I don't care what you've had to do, man. I don't care if it was so hard for you when you started out and it was just so much, and you want to resonate that within every other person that comes in. This is how it felt for me when I started here. I don't care how it felt for you because I am not you. You are a weak follower put in a leadership role. I'm not that.
Okay.
So I hate the guy. I fucking hate him. I've been so mad lately about it. I'm he's just... And then, I got a little verbal warning from my attendants because you're not supposed to have, days where you call off because they need you there when they need you there, I guess, is what he was telling me. And, he just gave me a verbal warning. And I think he gave me the verbal warning because I screwed him out of making me work 7 days in a row. I think he, gets off on it, and he's well, that goddamn Caleb, he thinks he can just come in here and work 6 in a row. Well, we'll see about that. I'll give him a verbal warning on it. And I'm convinced because he was mad about it. He seemed really agitated under the surface, and I'm he's probably just mad that he couldn't fuck me as hard.
This is what confuses me though, Schweiss.
What?
From an organizational standpoint, from a let's make this thing a well-oiled machine. People come in at certain times, leave at certain times, certain amount of hours per person, yada yada. Why would the schedule change that much?
I don't know. I'm glad
I understand that a nurse needs to work one night shift per week, right?
Yeah.
I understand that. But it's not But then if you just had that as the set night shift and then every other, if it was just the same thing every week, wouldn't you be able to schedule everybody in the same way every week? You would know kind of... In general, sometimes other people could pick up other people's shifts. That's a thing that can happen. But otherwise, it should be uniform in some way.
You would think that, but that's coming from a person that would know how to make something uniform. And these people, they don't know how to do that. And that's the thing that makes me so mad. He's well, we need you here when we schedule it. I'm yeah, well, maybe you should have thought about that before you made yourself 40% understaffed and didn't hire people. And they're like, oh, well, that's because, Denver won't let us hire, or this person won't let us hire. And I'm like, it's your job to make them do what they need to do. That's why you're a fucking manager. You make the shitlords below you do their job, and you make the assholes above you do their job. That's the game. If you can't handle it, then fucking quit. If you can't make people do what you want to do, you shouldn't be in a fucking position where that is what you're supposed to do. And that's all it is. It's just everyone's like, well, they won't let us. I'm like, who the fuck is they? Who's the master of puppets here? Who's pulling the strings? Like, Jesus Christ. You people are like all about we would love to do the changes and make it so that you're not fucking here for eternity every day, but they just won't let us. Those guys. I'm like, fucking who, man? Like, you're the plant manager. What? Make them do what they gotta do. That's what you're paid for. But the sad thing is it's all based on like seniority and I started in 79, so I outbid everybody, and I get to be the leader of the plant and not do a goddamn thing. Like the problem is that they assume that like you've been there long enough that you know how to do everything above you, and it's like some people they'll never be able to be up here. They just can't. They don't belong. They belong somewhere down lower where they are more suitable to what they're supposed to be doing. They're a great, fast worker, but they're an idiot when it comes to managing other people and making people not want to strangle them in a dark alley. They're awful at that. So they shouldn't be there. They just shouldn't be there. So take them down a few pegs. Like, take them down to where they're still making good money, doing other things. It's not ruining the lives of everyone under them and making them the most hated person. Like, he knows he's hated too, because he's like, oh yeah, I hear what everybody says about me. I'm like, maybe don't be such a dick then. Like, it's not like a badge of honor. Like,
just take your Dale Carnegie books and just throw it at.
Hey, read this if you know how. Fuck yeah, it's so frustrating though, and I'm like, it's like he wants you to hate him, and like that's his thing. Like, it's like, all right, I got to teach him a lesson. Like, a lesson from what? Why? Like, what have I done to deserve this lesson of yours? And I finally did.
I could tell. It seems like you've been working a shitload of hours, as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
and it's a shitload of days.
And that's the thing. He's like, well, I need you here when we schedule you, and I'm like, maybe hire more people so it's not a fuck around when I don't show up. It's fine.
But here's the thing, Schweiss. Here's what confuses me. You ask for one day off because it's a sick day. All right, so that just happens. That just happens.
I use my vacation time to cover that day.
All right.
Also,
my confusion is, if there's people working these jobs, how come the schedule would change around so much that you don't know what you're working next week? And how come other people seem to be able to? Because in order for them to decide that you're moving around throughout the week, that means other people must have shifted around throughout the week in large amounts so that they need you.
Well,
so that's what confuses me. So who is...
Everybody gets like their vacation time, and people use it as they need.
And they're just using it butt fuck randomly?
Some of them, okay. I guess. I don't know what for, but that's a factor. And then, like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think it would be that hard to make it pretty regular. And the thing is like there are like 3 people below me, so it's like I'm not like the bottom of the shit post. I'm not the bottom of the barrel here, so like I shouldn't have to be the one that's like constantly moved. But then again, the bottom of the barrel, everybody below me has split days off, and so that's one thing I've gotten him to give me, because I think he like pokes you and he's like, "What can I make you do?" Like, I'm telling you, it's like the master of puppets. Like, he just fucking. He's like making us all dance to his shitty banjo solo, and I'm like, and I told him one time, I was like, you got to give me days off in a row. Like, this, it's bullshit to not. Like, it's ridiculous to not. I'm fucking here for like an insane amount of hours. Like, please, God, just do the 2 in a row. So now he was like, all right, well, here's your 2 in a row, but I'm going to fucking move him around and like twist him and turn him into this thing that hurts. Make it as long swaths of work, and then he's probably I think I know what he's going to do. I think this week I'm going to get a schedule for next week, and I'm going to have Thursday, Friday off instead of Wednesday, Thursday, because that's the most dick move that he could do at this time. And then I might I don't know. Maybe he'll give me Saturday, Sunday, and I'll have like a 4-day weekend. But and it's also this like sick mentality where it's like, and everybody around me has this too. Like, well, you got a 3-day weekend a little while ago, and I'm like, you're right. You know, I had it nice once, so now I should have it real shitty for a long time because I got to make up for it being semi decent one time.
Wow.
It's like, hey, God, you people are like, it's like this sick syndrome where you're like, you know, you just love the abuse and you fucking are fine with it. And you feel like you owe them for the one time that it was really cool when you got 3 days off in a row.
It sounds
It's sick.
atrocious. Just awful, Schweiss.
It is, yeah, it is.
It's worse than mine. At least I know what time I have to get up in the morning and go and know what days I'm working.
Yeah,
like, that's nice. Now, the amount of fucking stops I have is always like, surprise!
Yeah, that's true.
That's way worse.
But your job, it's like everyone knows it's a fuck. It's a fuck fest.
It is.
Like it's just like when I was delivering bread. It's like everyone knows it's fucking awful. So it still sucks, but it's like you know what you're gonna come into, kind of for the most part. For me, it's like sometimes I know Tuesday what I'll be doing next week, which starts Saturday, by the way. Sometimes the asshole forgets to put it up until Wednesday, and it's like, how am I supposed to plan anything? Like, how am I supposed to plan my life around you if you won't
work-life
tell me?
balance? How am I supposed to?
Yeah, it's more of like a work-life planning because, like, I don't know when I can do really anything until like a week before, and then it's like this.
By the way,
D-bag
managers who listen to this podcast, 1 week? No. At least 2 weeks for schedules. Please,
yeah, you gotta
God.
know, man. You gotta know.
You gotta know.
And like, yeah, if you want to do like a weekend camping trip, when's your weekend? You don't know.
No.
I don't know. When
Their
can I
whole
binge?
thing, my life for the pizza place, as far as they're concerned, or my life for the mail.
And it's sick because it's like it doesn't have to be this way. And like
It's like if you want to get people to quit, give them a random ass schedule, give them a schedule 1 week in advance, and then make the job also be very physically taxing.
yeah,
That'll ensure that you're constantly hiring and people are leaving you constantly.
well, and the thing is like it wasn't hard to get the job,
Right.
and like
I'm 100% sure it wasn't hard to get that
and
job.
I'm like, I know that, and I know I could get another job that I make enough money at, so I don't need it.
Right.
And that's the one weapon I have in my back pocket against these people is like, I don't need it, so
But
don't fucking make me
But you
leave.
need a decent employee.
Yeah, and I want it.
Yeah.
I just don't fucking need it. I've never needed a job from people like that. I've never once needed it. I could always go somewhere else and find something probably even better.
Yeah.
I could. And that's like the one thing that gives me solace in my darkest hour is like I could just tell him like, stop fucking with me. I don't need to be here. I know you love just playing around with all the people below you because you're a piece of shit person and an even worse manager, but I don't need it, man. I could go anywhere. I don't need you. It was fucking easy to get on here. It's going to be just as easy to get on at FedEx or UPS where I make just as much money and I'm not fucking ragdolled around every week.
Yeah, FedEx is fun because lots of people like to leave for Saturdays, so we leave it at about an hour later because the people who are shipping around the mail. Yeah. So I'm yelling at people that do your job. Telling them to hurry the fuck up.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like I like the job and I like doing the stuff. I like working even the 12-hour days. I don't mind that. What I do mind is just day after day in a row, like just over and over and over and like. And it feels like now he's just trying to make me get less hours by working me on Saturday and Sunday because like the last 2 weeks I worked 6.5 hours on Saturday. I'm like, why am I even here? Like, it's just such a waste. I didn't even have to take lunch legally. Like I just left. It was just done. Huh. I'm like, and then the sick part is today will be 8, and then it's like 12, and then like 6, 8, 12. So it's like I'm working a ton, but I'm only getting a little bit more than normal, like as far as like the pay. So it's just like, I don't want like a slightly rough lover. Like I want the ball gag from this place is what I want, and they won't give me the ball gag. They like unhitched it.
This is not. I don't like this conversation.
It's either plow me or just be real gentle. Like it's no like grabbing the balls suddenly, It's just it's one or the other. It's for me like it's like a middle ground. So like there's so many things that I just get so mad about, but
okay,
all centered around this guy. But yeah. Anyway, that's why I had no time to play Vagrant Story.
I volunteered to work. That's what I do now. I go, I can work on these days.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, come in. And I do that.
That's pretty nice.
I didn't realize Vagrant Story how hard it was going to be, so I scheduled these 2 weeks, and yeah.
Well, you got to make money. I mean,
I do have to make money.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of money, I'm gonna be
USPS. No,
I'm gonna be making a movie here soon, and we'll be doing another Indiegogo campaign. So anybody who feels like helping us out with that. It's a movie called The 13th Cross, and I'll give you some more information on it next week and the week after that. But just a little heads up, a little teaser before we get into that. But we should probably talk about Final Fantasy on this Final Fantasy podcast.
Not the post office.
Not the post office. Admittedly, though, like it's my check-in to you every week to make sure that you're not going to go on a killing spree or something.
It won't be a spree. It'll be a
it'll be one guy.
Yeah. It'll be a one-time deal.
Okay.
Although that's how it always starts. I mean, it starts with one.
If you fuck them, yeah. Afterwards, if you're like one of those like crazy guys, if you're talking about like a serial killer or just like a murderer. So I believe there's a difference. There's like one guy who gets off on killing,
and then one guy who just has a few people that need to get got.
Yeah,
if you will.
I think those are different people.
Okay, I guess I would probably be.
So if you like fuck his corpse, that'd be a much different
worst
situation.
case scenario, I beat off on his corpse's face. Worst case scenario.
Have you ever gone to juvie or anything like that, Troy?
No.
Okay, so they don't have your DNA in the system.
No,
yet?
yeah, they have nothing.
Okay, don't do the 23andMe. That's how you find
That's how you get in.
That's how you find people now.
Oh
my God. All right. We're going to answer on our show a question called Piecemealing the Final Fantasy game, where it's having us put together like a super Final Fantasy. We've done similar ones to this before, but it's a really interesting question, so that's kind of going to be our subject for today. But before we get into any of that, I'm going to give you our plugs. If you want to hear us talk about the post office every week, you go to ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also check out our forums. Just go to ultimatefinalfantasy.com, click on the forum tab, and you can talk Final Fantasy on there. You can give us questions for the show, really long questions that can be full episode segments as well. Those are fun.
Yeah, for when we fail to beat games.
We were planning on doing it anyway, but now's as good a time as any.
Yeah,
because we didn't beat Vagrant Story this week. So what are we 2 weeks behind on Vagrant Story?
Yeah, I think so. And the next one is supposed to be a month, I think. So we're gonna have like
it's
week
not gonna
of
happen.
Type 0.
Type 0 is not gonna be. We're gonna be a few weeks behind. We're gonna have to catch up.
Although we
games.
Yeah, we say that, but it won't seem quite as behind.
Yeah.
Because that game, I don't know.
Man, Vagrant Story's not that long, but it's fucking brutal.
Yeah, it is pretty tough. Yeah, it's really, I really like it, and then I really don't like it sometimes. Like the platforming and the puzzles, I'm like, it's like someone was like, how can we make this impossible to just naturally figure out? And like, oh, I know. We can make it super dark and make it so you can't actually see chunks of the map, so you don't know if you can push that little fucking block that way, because it looks like there's nothing there, but there really is something there.
Move the camera.
I do. It's just black. It's this black patch.
Yeah, you idiot. Move the camera. Yeah, no wonder it's all black.
Yeah. It's painful sometimes, but I do think it is fun. So
yes.
It's sad.
If you want to talk to us individually, you can tweet me at Joseph DeGollier.
Me at UFF Podcast.
And if you want to support the show, there's Patreon, PayPal, Amazon link on our site.
Yeah, we got a song coming for the Patreon.
We do.
Been due for a very long time.
Another song coming. And we owe some people some episodes, and we probably owe some like stickers and stuff.
Probably by now, yeah.
It
There's
is.
probably a few.
It's getting hard to track this stuff.
Oh, I've got it all tracked.
You've got it all tracked.
Yeah, we've got some new people.
Your
that we
spreadsheets are impossible for me to understand. I just want you to know that.
I don't think they're that confusing. The money one is fine.
The money
That one I
one
think you're
is
crazy
confusing as shit, by the way.
I haven't updated it in a while, so that's probably why.
So it's even more confusing.
Well, I also haven't added columns of expenses either. The problem you run into is if you look at the overall, because sometimes I'll add extra months and then forget to delete it from the totals column. Yeah, but I've got it down. I know who's owed what.
Okay.
I know we've gotten a few new patrons in the last few months, so those guys we probably owe some bumper stickers because I bought fucking 20 bumper stickers. And then we sent every single one of them out, and then now it's a new batch of people. And I think
it's because Godzilla, I basically have to manage everything, and I know there's a certain month that I sent out all the stickers, and now I have to backtrack and find out who I did and didn't do. Godzilla though is a lot simpler of a Patreon thing than this one is. This one's complex. So
yeah, and we got to pull from many different places for everything.
So if you feel like you've been left behind in some way,
just message
this is
us.
only to the Patreon people. Just message us, give us a email or give us a tweet or something like that, and we'll try to figure something out.
I've been off Twitter lately, but
yeah, it's been annoying. I've been tweeting you shit. You've been just meh.
Because I keep getting God of War stuff, and I was like, I don't want to know anything about this game. I just want to play it myself, and that's it.
Okay.
And I keep getting pictures. People are like, "Oh, look how cool this looks," and I'm like, "Stop it! Just leave me alone. I don't want to know. I have to play Vagrant Story, and then Catherine, and then I can play God of War. Don't you know?"
Or you can put off Catherine a shitload and just play God of War.
But I owe God of War 2, though, so it's I'm putting off one job for another job.
Yeah,
they both have to be
true.
done.
But then one can make you be back on Twitter.
That's true. Yeah.
Which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Just get back on that social network.
That's right, yeah.
That's right. We got some news.
Yeah, we got a couple articles.
Okay, well then let us get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Jesus
do
Christ.
that. News. All right, newly despised by me website, comicbook.com says Deus Ex developer Eidos Montreal almost made a Final Fantasy game. So it was almost something to talk about.
I almost made a Metal Gear Solid podcast.
Yeah, we almost made a Zelda podcast. We did actually.
And
see, here's why I don't trust it. It says they were doing an interview and they said Weidman said that talks for it to be the next mainline entry in the series came after doubt crept in about the publisher's internal Japanese studio. The publishers, which shipped Final Fantasy XII to middling reviews. Final Fantasy XII, the second best rated Final Fantasy in the series, tied with 7 other games.
Middling
reviews of a 93.
Yeah.
It's just okay.
This is what they're talking about when they say fake news, Schweiss.
Yeah, this is what they're talking about. And I'm like, okay, so the guys who made Deus Ex almost made a Final Fantasy.
It doesn't seem like it.
They said they wanted to make a space opera with a visual design and fancy crazy design. It was supposed to be a high-tech engine. They say they were going to be working on it. It was this rumor, but I don't know about that. I don't know if I could believe a place that says that FF12 had middling reviews. It might have had middling love amongst the fans, which is fine.
Amongst the fans, it seems like there was a bit of a backlash for, but
in the beginning, certainly.
Middling reviews, no. It got a 9.5 on... Oh,
I don't think people... Sorry, it autoplayed there. I don't think people really understand what the word review means. I think it's
it says a reviewer from a publication.
Yeah.
Reviews.
It's a person that works for an organization that does reviews for things, and almost all of them loved that game. There is maybe the public opinion of the game could be mixed, which it was. I remember G4's
I think from a case study basis, as far as like people that we've talked to on our show, it does seem it's
kind of mixed, yeah,
kind of mixed.
Although it's mixed, and then the people are like, well, I mean,
but it got like
game.
It got what? Didn't it get like 40 out of 40 on Famitsu or something like that, or 39?
Yeah, it was up there.
And then it got a 9.5 on Game Informer. Didn't it get a pretty high score on IGN?
Nobody called it out then, but it's
middling reviews.
Yeah, middling. Yeah, middling compared to what? Like what? What the hell is better than that? It's tens. That doesn't happen all the time. So I have my doubts, but whatever.
Okay.
So apparently in the Square Enix's US sale, there's a freebie and a bunch of cheap Final Fantasy games. So if you guys need to pick up some FF games, do it. So 3 through 6 are $8, while the later ones range from 6 to 10. So that's some pretty good pricing. I know a little while ago we had run into a sale from Square Enix's website that was pretty good.
Yes, it was.
And you know what the sickest part was?
Your sinus infection.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick.
I picked up a bunch of games, and then I put one on my wish list, right? And then I just can't log into my account anymore. And the security questions, they're not my answers. So I just can't log in, and I'm trying to like reset, and it's like, oh, what was the name of your first pet? And I put it in, and it's like, nope. One of these 5 questions that we asked is wrong. I'm like, they're not wrong. They're just they're I know what they are. Like, God damn it,
one
of them
capitalized or something.
Maybe,
that's
but
the thing
that
always
that.
scares me is like crap. It's like, what's the name of your childhood best friend? And I'm like, did I say his nickname or his name? Did I say his last and first name?
Yeah. And I'm like, and it's like, what's your mother's maiden name? And it's like, wrong. I'm like, no, it isn't wrong, dumbass. It's my actual last name because she didn't get married. So it's just Schweiss, which is my name because I'm a bastard. Don't tell me I'm not doing it right. I know what the name is. I've been spelling it my whole life. Fuck you, Square Enix store. And I can't log in. So I couldn't get 4 Heroes of Light for like $10.
Or there's a will, there's a way.
I fucking hope so, because I tried, and they're like, no, if you don't know these questions, you're just fucked. I'm like, I've got all those points in the store. Like, I got to get stuff, man. I was going to save up and get like a DS case, like a fancy, I can't remember what game it was, but it was one of the games, and it had like its own little DS case, and I was going to use all my points that I'd earned to get the case, but if I have to create a new fucking account, I'm not going to have any points. So all those special editions that I've spent way too much money on are just going to be no points, nothing earned from them. Just lots of...
You hear that, Square Enix?
Lots of cash.
Make it easier to hack into your account again.
Yeah, let me get back in, man. I'm not trying to steal anything. I'm just trying to spend money in your goddamn store.
Wow. Well,
Oh, and then most importantly in news.
Okay.
FF7 nominated to the Video Game Hall of Fame. And I'm pretty sure they actually won, too.
Oh, did? Yeah, I think them and Tomb Raider or something else. Video Game Hall of Fame for Final Fantasy VII. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of overdue. But
Final Fantasy VII is the Final Fantasy that non-Final Fantasy players know the references to.
Yeah, that's true. And it's I've heard of a lot of people that watch and love Advent Children without even playing Final Fantasy. So like, it is a thing, and it's a thing that a lot of people get, and it's a big deal. So yeah, that is one of the 2018 inductees, looks like. So alongside Doom, the original Doom, Grand Theft Auto 3, Halo Combat Evolved, Donkey Kong, lots of other great games. It's kind of interesting now that we finally have a sort of Hall of Fame for games. Like it's something that had to have taken a while, but it's kind of an interesting aspect that it's like finally now recognized as the thing.
But soon they're going to be putting non-video games in there. You think?
Yeah, like the Rock and Roll Hall.
They're
of Fame.
They're going to put some movies in there too.
We could have Rihanna in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Like it's
not rock and roll.
We got 50 Cent in there, right? We can bring in Will Smith. Hey, why not? It's rock and roll. It's just rocking and rolling.
Whatever.
Pretty soon, Avengers, Age of Ultron is going to be nominated for the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like Metallica's
I mean,
Black
it's mostly
Album.
computer, so you could say.
Yeah, it could be played. Yeah. So I can't wait for the Video Game Hall of Fame to be just as stupid as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That really just means all other crappier genres as well, because they don't have a Hall of Fame because they suck.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I would say make a hip hop Hall of Fame. What's the issue with that?
Well, isn't that sort of genre-ist, though? Like to be like
so is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
to say that you won't include other genres in something that's clearly
But to be fair, Schweiss,
that's clearly titled rock and roll.
to be fair, genre does not exist.
I guess that's fair.
That is 100% the truth. It's way too like watery, whatever. I remember there was a book on music I heard a chapter of. They were talking about they tried to have a computer be able to recognize certain genres of music. They just could not figure out how to do it. There's no actual like way of figuring out a genre of anything really. It's just
what we say it is.
It's just what we say it is, even though it's it's totally not. I mean, to me, rock and roll is a guitarist, a bassist, a drummer, and a singer. Like that's what rock and roll is.
Yeah,
and
not
some
a
variation
singer.
of that, but not a dude making music on a keyboard or anything like that. Like,
Or like a chick or a person, a group of people just singing to lyrics they didn't write and a bunch of people dancing behind them. That's not rock and roll to you either.
Yeah,
It's not rock and roll to me at all.
but it's not rock and roll to me.
Exactly. That's what they should play whenever someone like that gets inducted. Like as they're walking up to take the award and like do their little speech. They just send that off like, fuck you.
It's fine. I mean, like, there's tons of genres. I mean, they could call what the fuck?
It was you.
Oh, I'm getting a phone call right now. I gotta say no. I'm sorry, Nick.
Good fan of the show.
Somebody actually wants to talk to me today.
I know, it's
nice.
weird. I don't think I've ever heard your phone go off.
That was a phone call from Facebook Messenger.
Oh, okay.
So someone was calling me through Facebook because he did that last week, and I was like, "Why the hell are you calling me through this thing?" And he's like, even though I have his number, I thought he had mine, but maybe not. You couldn't just call me like a normal goddamn person.
Guess not.
Facebook shall rule. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they're listening to whatever phone call we have too, like tracking it and writing it down and giving it to advertisers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, whatever you discuss.
Whatever we discuss.
Yeah, good old Facebook.
Good old Facebook. I love the outrage on the Facebook thing. Like, we didn't know we were giving them a shitload of information that they were just going to, like, who's surprised by the Facebook information thing? Who was surprised by that?
I don't know.
You knew when you signed up for the site that that was going to happen. I mean, come on, who didn't know that? You would have to be a fucking moron to think, oh, I'm going to give all my information to this private company, and they're not going to use it for any purposes.
Yeah.
Even though you do that, you do anything in Google. Anything in Google is trackable through their AdWords bullshit.
Yeah.
So they can give people who are trying to sell shit, they can give them ad space based on you, based on your search preferences and all that other shit. You're surprised by the Facebook thing?
Well, see, the funny thing to me is like when people are like, "You can't put ads on my Facebook page because it's mine." I'm like,
no, it's Facebook's Facebook
like, you
page.
didn't make
and
it.
You went on there.
and like you're like a 50-year-old man. You didn't make your page. You just borrowed it from Facebook. And yeah, they have ads, and sure, like maybe that's a little, maybe they go a little overboard, but you didn't make it anything here. You
Remember,
just said yes to
you
making
upload
it
a
an
picture on Facebook. Facebook has the rights to that picture.
account. Yeah.
Did you know that? I mean, there was an outrage on this like 7 years ago, and like now we all know that. We all know that Facebook has the rights to all of your fucking pictures that you're putting up on there. Whether that means anything to you, who the fuck cares? Because you're not like they're gonna sell the images of your. Maybe they will.
Yeah.
Either way, but they would need your permission in order to do that. if you have your face on it. That's the only thing. Now, so you know that Facebook has the rights to your pictures. Now, are you surprised that when you go onto Facebook that they're not going to be keeping track of your information and selling that? I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb.
Or someone's going to be able to exploit that at least.
I don't know. People just don't think, I guess.
Surprise! Were you surprised by it?
No. I saw it and it was like, this is an investigation. Why is this a thing?
Why is this an investigation?
Everybody knows it's what's happening. Like they have our info, they use our info. Google does it all the time. I mean, Google uses it as this weird like wiki communist like big deal, which
Google
I like.
Pisses
Google
me
a
off.
lot.
I don't like the catering to the thing. That's why I have ad block and shit. So
what I do
I
like
don't
is
see those ads. That
what
are
I like is
ooh,
like,
you bought this. You bought a piece of plastic on Amazon. Now here's the same thing spread out through the next 2 weeks of.
Yeah, that's true. That I don't like. But what I do like is like Google Maps and stuff like that. So when you let Google access your information. But like, how do you think Google Maps knows there's a traffic delay up in front of you? It's because there are a bunch of other people with Google
their
Maps
phones in there,
and Google's using that information to tell you, hey. And that is a great usage of it. That's
I like
fine.
That, yeah.
Facebook, not so great. But I also think Facebook is kind of a cesspool. So this is where people go to like watch other people's lives crumble.
Or they do it to share their own lives and be like, I didn't get more than 6 likes on this post. I'm a failure.
Yeah. People really.
I do sometimes feel that way on Twitter. I'm like, God damn it, people.
What I love though is like when you get your annual like year in reviews from Facebook, and mine are like fucking empty as hell. It's like, remember this? And it's like me saying some like really fucked up comment on somebody else's page and everybody laughing at it, and I'm like, oh, I remember that. That was pretty good. Or like our friendship, and it's like 2 posts between Caleb, Craig, and I over the last like 15 years. Just fucking nothing.
But whoever signed up for Facebook thinking like they shall protect all my information?
I don't know. They're a private company, and they make a lot of money on advertising, so of course they're going to use what you put into them. Like, and that's part of the terms of service. Like, they're going to use your data. You're going to use your info. If you don't like it, no one's forcing you to sign up for the account.
No one's forcing you to have the internet, people.
Yeah, that's what amazes me so much is that they abuse it. It's like, well, you said yes, so you're fucked. Like, just you don't have to have Facebook. It's like the whole piracy thing all over again. It's that mentality. It's, oh, well, I want this game. I can't afford it. They made it too expensive, so I'm just going to steal it. Like, I'm just going to take it. It's mine now. It's mine. There's nothing you can do about it. So I want this Facebook page, and I want it for free, and I want to give nothing else back, and I feel like I shouldn't have to lose my information. My info shouldn't be out in the world, but I do want the Facebook page. So I'm going to take the Facebook page, and then I'm going to get really mad when my info's sold and used and abused, and it's like, well, you don't have to have the Facebook, but they're like, no, I do have to have the Facebook. It's like, you really just need water and food and some fucking shelter.
You need water,
from the weather.
food, and shelter. That's really all you need.
Facebook
people.
isn't like the fucking fourth element of life, you know. That's what amazes me so much about it. Like it's like they feel like they have to have it. So it's like, oh, I'm going to be mad at them using this to make money because God forbid they make money to run the site that I use all day, every day.
See, I'm waiting for that day when I finally decide to just download all of my pictures, get them printed off, put them in a file cabinet, and then message all my friends on Facebook to give me their email address and phone number so that I can contact them, and then shut the fucking page off.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that day, but that's a lot of shit, man. I've been on that site for like 10 years. And really, I don't want to get rid of Facebook because of the information thing. I want to get rid of Facebook because it's honestly like, it's a site I go to when I'm bored, and it's like I should be doing something productive instead of going onto Facebook.
It's less productive than basically any other hobby that you and I have.
YouTube is less productive than Facebook.
You know what? I can agree with that. Yeah. YouTube is fun, though.
And you know what? I've honestly, like, my YouTube addiction, I used to be really into YouTube. I barely go on there now. I'll see music videos of artists I like if I want to listen to a song. Occasionally other things, but like I used to look up like really in-depth film videos and stuff like that. Now I listen to interviews, and then like the film essay community, just like in the last 3 years. If you look up anything on a movie, they're just like some dude like me just decided that he is the all-encompassing, like the expert on Pulp Fiction, and will make a 20-minute video on the ins and outs of Pulp Fiction as he sees it. And it's obnoxious. So I'm like, it's cool, it's fine. It's not useful to me in any way. So I'm like, I'm kind of done. I don't know. YouTube is not like, I don't know. I guess my new one is podcasts. I'll do nothing and I'll just put a podcast in the background and listen to, like, try to get my queue emptied on my podcasts. But yeah, fuck Facebook.
Yeah, honestly, I
but also go fuck yourself if you're mad at Facebook for doing that, because you're ridiculous.
Yeah, it's obvious that they're doing that. What you should get mad at them for doing is censorship. That's what you should be mad about, not them using your data that you give them voluntarily.
Or you should be mad at the fact that they don't do the chronological thing. They do it by top stories on your friends list.
Fucking stupid. And then when you click it again, it'll be like, okay, now we'll do everything, and then you can't find the one thing you were looking at. Yeah,
you'll forget people because of that thing.
You
like,
will.
Oh, does that person exist?
You'll lose people. Yeah, you'll lose their shit because it's like, this one's important according to our algorithms. Like, why can't you just give me like everything that's happened?
Algorithms make me mad. I think it makes people dumb too, or it gives you like a tunnel vision sort of view.
Oh yeah, that's what blocking people on Facebook does too.
Yeah,
it makes it so it's like, it's just your little group of, chickens huddled in the corner, just scared, talking about the same thing with the same thoughts going on. It's like this fucking group of people that just can't possibly imagine how certain things would happen in the world, and then boom, they happen. And then they just don't understand it. They don't get it, and they feel like they got to try to get the FBI to investigate it for years and years and years and years because they just can't believe it happened. That's Facebook is part of that problem, and it's pretty sad.
Okay, speaking of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Final Fantasy Facebook.
Jesus Christ, we are off it today, Schweiss. We're going nuts today.
That's because we didn't beat our game.
That's probably it.
But yeah, so that's all. That's it for the news. Not a whole lot this week. I guess it is pretty cool that FF7 got into the Hall of Fame. I'm excited to see like comic books and other, non-gaming things finally make their
way. Show up.
When people are like, well, we need this to be for all. It's genreist or media typist. Something will come up and
something that actually doesn't exist.
Yeah, and they'll make it part of it. So
yeah,
that's cool for now while it remains pure. But I don't know if it will. Although maybe nobody gives a shit, so they won't worry about it. Let's keep video games.
All right, so I closed when I got that call, I closed my shit out, and now I'm okay. I found it. I found the forum post. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Piecemealing, the best FF game. This is by Banner13. One last show question. I guess they asked multiple. These three might be enough for the entire show. Anywho, when you all review games, you talk about story, gameplay, sound, art direction. What I want to do is separate these a bit more in its essence to create your perfect game with pieces of all the past games combined. Using your extensive Final Fantasy experience, what games hit these categories almost perfect, or what cross between a couple of games would be perfect for all of these categories?
Ooh, so we're taking pieces of every FF game and making them, throwing them in the melting pot, boiling it, and then cooking up a new Final Fantasy.
You can read this in a couple ways, like what Final Fantasy game had the best this, and this, which we kind of already did with ranking the FFs. There's a podcast episode we went through like certain categories and ranking.
Yeah.
But it could also be like, let's take a melting pot of the previous games and make a Frankenstein game of all the good pieces.
Oh, okay.
Or like a Silence of the Lambs suit of all the
Oh,
all the
nice.
right
That's
pieces.
even better. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's even better. Skin suit.
Skin suit. She a great big fat person.
Yeah. What size are you?
I'm about 14. What is the what does he say? Oh my god! All right. I want to watch that movie now.
Yeah, that guy's pretty awesome.
It's funny they always talk about Anthony Hopkins when it comes to that movie. And it's like, come on, you got to talk about Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
Okay, world style, battle engagement, battle system, ability system, art style, summons, side games, music, character customization, story, the villain, and the setting.
Oh, villain style. Okay. That's good.
Yeah, style. So world style, a.k.a. open, like FF15 is, segmented, like FF12 is, unscaled, like world map and towns aren't to scale, FF1 through 9, and linear as fuck, 10 and 13.
Honestly, I think FF12's world style is the best. And the reason for that is you can pick where you want to go from a list on an airship if you want. So it brings in Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy blah, blah, blah. Like the kind of the more modern style of travel, which is kind of shitty. Or you could just hoof it. The entire world map, pretty much. Like everywhere is, you could walk to everywhere that you want, and you could walk into zones you're not supposed to be in. Try to get items really early to make the game like really easy if you're lucky enough to survive going down there.
What makes that different from like FF15 though? In that respect, and all the things that you listed as good things.
I suppose in 15 it's kind of similar. You can still run into guys that you really should not be fighting right now.
Right.
A lot of those like boss enemies that you run into in the game, some of them will just straight up kill you. And they'll kill you really fast if you go early enough. I remember there was this, I can't remember what the guy, it was the Jabberwocky. I ran into him and I was not supposed to be there, and he fucking leveled me. I didn't die. Luckily, I got up and I just got a potion on, and I just fucking ran, and my teammates were just getting destroyed. Everyone was dead, and I was just sprinting off into the distance, But so I guess 15 kind of does it similarly. But one thing, I don't know. I kind of like how 12 does it, where it's not just one super big open world. I kind of like it being still somewhat video game like.
It's funny that 15 feels smaller despite the fact that it is actually bigger. And I think it has to do with it all being in one quote unquote room.
Yeah, I don't know
what I mean.
I don't know if it is. I don't think it's bigger than the world of 12, but it is pretty big.
It's huge, and it's all one map.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
it's like 3 maps.
Yeah, the 3 different big zones, but most of it's the one map. Most of it's like the sky and like all of that shit.
Yeah.
The big mainland. And that is a pretty massive area. One of the things why I'd rather have 12 is loading times, because 15, when you fast travel anywhere, really what you're doing is reducing the time it would take you to walk by a minute or two.
That's not true at all.
Dude,
oh my
the
God,
loading
that is
time
not
can
true.
be so bad in that game.
It can be bad. I'm not disagreeing with you, but it takes forever to walk.
Yeah, I don't know if either of us would go super linear like 10 or 13, though.
No, I'm not. I think it worked for 10. Wish 13 was a little bit more open, certainly.
Yeah. And it gets open. But the funny thing to me is when people compare the Grand Pulse to the Calm Lands, I'm like, not really. Grand Pulse is way bigger than
it
the
is
Calm
way
Lands.
bigger
There's
than the Calm
way
Lands,
more
but
to do.
it does function in almost the exact same way. It's like right before the last section of the game, and it's like when the game decides to open up, it's when you can return to other things.
You can go do side quests.
You can go do a lot of side quests. There's mini games and shit like that.
God.
So that's all in the Calm Lands, which is almost in that same kind of Chapter 11 area that FF13.
Yeah, I guess it is similar, but it's like, I don't know, the 10 mini games, maybe that's why I hate it so much. And like the most fun one is the monster collecting one in Final Fantasy X, and that's not, That's not so much a mini game as it is a brand new campaign of 30 plus hours of collecting every monster in the game to fight the super boss. Which sadly is the most fun side quest in FF10, is the most monotonous one because it isn't like thin your hair out in rage inducing like the fucking chocobo racing and stuff like that. I honestly, you know what? 13's mini games are better than 10's.
Wow.
I'd rather ride a fucking chocobo around and dig up treasure than ride a chocobo around and collect balloons that I can't see.
You're 100% correct. I'm not.
And I get that sweet drum solo on that chocobo.
But it's funny, neither of us picked classic Final Fantasy version 1 through 9.
Yeah,
where it's the mini, it's the big mini map that you can travel through, so the overworld map, and then you go into the towns and they expand.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like that, and I know Type 0 does that again. So Type 0 is like FF8, yeah. Okay. So it's like you're this huge dude in the world. The town is like this tiny little, a dollhouse looking town, and you walk into it and then it's a big town again. So it kind of brings back that classic feel. It's not that I don't like that, it's just that I kind of prefer the realistic scaling that 12 and 15 kind of brought to the table. It just feels bigger to me. And like the world in 7, like it doesn't feel very big, and it's because of the way they did the map.
I will say I will go with you on that one too. I think FF12 is kind of a good middle ground between the old style and the completely open. It still feels huge. I would almost kind of like, if we were to make a new one, like kind of gear it a little bit more towards the open world, but still have, each place has a distinct feel, and it feels like there's a bigger world there. Even though FF12's world is actually kind of small in comparison to the other games, it still feels big because of the different locales and stuff like that. And you get that when you segment it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, battle engagements. So how battles start. Action, like FF15. Visible pre-battle, like FF12 and 13. Or random, FF1 through 10. And I think both of us are kind of looking at this through a modern lens. If we were to make one, if we were to make FF16.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked random battles for a time, but once we started getting out of random battles, I liked it even more. I actually think I kind of think 13 has like the perfect mix.
I do too.
I really like. I think I like 12s a lot as well, just because seeing the enemies and then being able to like just be in the battle at the same time is really cool, and it's more interactive and it's more realistic feeling. But I think I'm going to have to kind of lean towards FF13 here just a little bit, even though I prefer what you do in 12, because I like what they've done with 13-2 and Lightning Returns, where you have preemptive strikes, where you can like sneak up on the enemy and get some attacks
I think this is only for, are we in with the enemies in the world? Do we see them in the world and then go into the battle, or do we just have battles randomly? Like, what do you prefer?
Yeah.
And we got a separate question on the battle system. But I do like the battle engagement in 13, where it's like, okay, now I'm with this guy. Because I think one of the small little things with FF15 is like your interaction with the world versus when you're fighting. Like, you can't see the fucking, like, the ghost dogs or whatever sometimes, and you're like, where are they? And things like that. Like, that's a problem. FF13, you don't have that.
Yeah,
problem.
13, it's like perfect. 13-2, it's even better.
Because the battle system is at least somewhat of a controlled environment.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that. Battle system, active time battle, turn-based battle, action, tactics-based, etc. I mean, what battle system in the series?
Well, I like the tactics-based one a lot, but I don't think it would work for the game that we built so far. It'd be really infuriating to have like a super wide open world, and then you get into you find an enemy on the field, you attack them, and then suddenly you're like picking squares to put your characters on. I don't think that would quite work.
My thing here is I still think FF13 has the best battle system in the series, in my opinion. And I would also stick with FF13's type of battle system. Maybe 13-2, just for a little bit more of a more polish. But yeah, I would stick with my FF13 on that one as well.
Yeah, I'd go Lightning Returns. I think that's probably the most fun.
That one was a lot of fun.
And surprisingly, that game is actually really, really fun. Like the way you play the
Everything
game.
else is bad.
The story is just really shitty.
And
the
it
music,
doesn't look very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of not great, but a really fun game. So yeah, I think I would have to go with that one because it's just so. There's just so much you can do with it. It's so fast.
I will concede and give you that one. Let's do Lightning Returns-esque battle system.
Yeah.
Okay, ability system. So how characters learn abilities. Sphere grid, materia, job system, or weapon equips.
This one's kind of tough because I really like the sphere grid and the weapon equips. Now, the one thing that I don't like about the sphere grid is that at the end, when you start unlocking,
I would count sphere
areas,
grid with license board. Those are almost the same thing. They're slightly different in how they work, but they're about the same thing.
Yeah, and I guess, you know what, 13 kind of does, it's kind of like
the Crystarium, yeah.
It's kind of better than the sphere grid in a lot of ways because, sure, you can get everything for everybody, but Snow is still going to be the best tank, the best sentinel in the game. So what Final Fantasy X does is it gives you access to the entire sphere grid once you get the level keys, and everybody becomes basically... everybody's characteristics are basically moot at that point. FF12 does the same thing in a big way, but FF12 has OG12 has pre-rendered stats for the characters. So when Vaughn gets level 99, he has the same amount of strength as Bosch. They just have the same base strength no matter what.
And you don't like that as much.
The thing is like Ash and Penelo, they have less strength.
Right.
Their stats, their final
stats,
so they're different in a way, but by the end of 12, you kind of have everybody using a big-ass sword.
Pretty much the same.
And they're kind of the same character, yeah.
Everybody's doing max.
And that's, and that's what I don't care for.
You want some individuality.
Yeah, and I like how 12 does that, just a sprinkle of that, but really by the end, you don't have, like, Balthier's not using his gun, Fran's not using her bow, because it's just not worth it anymore.
I'll tell you
Everybody becomes the same.
I think the best system... in terms of ability system, I do like the equipping the summons with FF6, and you learn the summons abilities. I like that a lot. But I think the materia system might be the best one. I think equipping materia, slowly gaining those abilities for things that you find in game that kind of augment what you already have. And then having your characters have their own specific jobs on top of that. I think I'm going to go with the materia system.
All right, I'm going to go with the weapon equip system.
The weapon equip system?
Armor equip one, yeah, because the biggest reason
so
why
FF9 tactics.
Yeah. And the big reason why is because more FF9, but Tactics is still pretty good too. But it's because I like having the characters' fighting style and fighting ability kind of mirror what their character development has been throughout the game. And I feel like with FF10, 12, in some ways a little bit even 13, like I can just become everyone's a superhuman, everybody does a shitload of damage, anyone can use any weapon, so I'm going to give them the best great swords in the game that I have grabbed up to this point. Everyone's great. What I like about the tactics, you can still kind of do that with FF Tactics, but it takes forever to have everybody do the same shit. But what I like with that and like the FF9 style is, all my characters have very distinct jobs, but they have ways to learn different abilities within that job and become better at that one thing, which in turn does a lot of damage in its own right, even if it's not the same damage that the rest of it does. So I think I kind of like that more. Although, honestly, I kind of like Vagrant Stories a lot, too, where like you...
Yeah, I don't. I don't like it a lot.
Well, I'm talking about the
when
break
it doesn't
arts.
tell you what the hell to do. I don't like that.
The break arts, where like you use a certain style of weapon enough, and then you unlock a super move for the weapon. I think that is really cool.
I haven't utilized. I know it's there, but I haven't utilized that at all.
There are some that get pretty great for the two-handed swords. Like they do some pretty good damage.
Okay.
But they also damage you, so that part's kind of a pain in the ass. But I kind of like to use things a lot and then learn things based on that style of game. So.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with my materia system. I think it's close to your weapon system and it's close to the summon system, but it's keeping your characters with their own abilities and then like adding a little bit of boost to there. Plus, then they can build on to some great stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Art style. Super deformed like FF9, realistic like FF13 and 15, and sprites.
I'm going to go 15 realistic, probably, and less crazy with the hair, probably. But
I mean, I feel like if we make FF16 with sprites, we're looking at a DS version.
Yeah, we're going to become Dragon Quest, where we're just going to be released.
Yeah,
on
they're going to remove like the flagshipness of FF and like just kind of like put it on the back burner, which I'm not interested in. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with realistic as well. Realistic. It's never real.
You know, I want it to be real. I want my guy to be thinning. I want him to be kind of fat.
Okay.
His cardio is not very good, so like you start.
Do you want to like Fable 2 or like what
and
you
then,
do? Like if you eat too much food, you become fat.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more on the Grand Theft Auto end, where like I could just hit the gym every single day, and my guy becomes like
just ripped,
fuck off ripped, and like you do more damage when you hit people, and like
that'd be great.
Yeah, if just Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is kind of an RPG in a lot of ways, which is crazy, but.
So we both are on the realistic side.
Yeah,
I guess you can kind of tell we're both newer Final Fantasy fans.
As much fun as the sprites are, I don't think if we were to actually make a new modern FF, I don't think we could get away with it.
Yeah.
And super deformed, that's just not going to happen.
Nah. I think most people don't like that. Some people do, but I don't really care for that one. Okay, summons. I know the answer to this.
Yeah,
immediately.
I say FF10.
What?
Yeah.
You bastard. No,
FF10
incorrect.
with the scale of 15.
Okay, so our options here. Just a spell, like most FF games, so their basic function is that of a spell.
Yeah.
But, it's a long animation.
Really long spell.
Takes damage for you, like FF8. Full control, like FF10.
Also damage sponges in 10. I use that a lot.
Rare but epic, like FF15. Transformer robots that turn into vehicles and that scissor each other, like FF13.
That part I love, but
okay.
I also was embarrassed at 13.
FF12 was like they become like I guess it's sort of a spell, but they become like another character almost.
Yeah. And you can keep them alive and stuff, which is fun, but they're just kind of useless.
My favorite summon system in the entire planet, and I think it's perfect, frankly. The P word, perfect, is FF15. I think the summons used story-wise and like lore-wise and how they were used in the battle system when they happened, that they were this rare, godly occurrence. And it was kind of hard to get some of them to drop because of that. And the rarity made them interesting and not boring like FF8. If you played FF8 wrong, like most of us did,
summoned a lot.
You summoned all the time and got really bored with the summons. So I love the way FF15 did it. I think FF15's summon system was perfect and should be used from this day forward.
I think they should go back to 10s and keep the epicness and maybe even the rarity of 15s as far as like getting summons. So have like a handful of really powerful, really huge summons, but I want to be in full control of them like in 10. I think that's a really cool thing that FF10 brought, where you could control the summon, you could learn new abilities, you kind of have this second team of characters with the summoner that you can level up and you can increase their damage and utilize them for different things. And like I really enjoyed that in Final Fantasy X, but I do like how massive and like insanely huge everything was in 15. So I did probably do like a hybrid where you control them, but they're still really, really huge, and you're just like up there, like throwing down bolts of lightning. I think it'd be sweet.
But then they would probably be way overpowered, or they would look super overpowered and then be underpowered.
Really weak, yeah.
So that's my issue with that. It's like when Ramu came, Ramu destroyed.
Yeah.
And even on a boss, he'd do like a crap ton of damage.
A lot of them he would kill, but it was always scary when he wouldn't kill one of them.
That's
You're
true.
like, shit, this guy's still alive.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 15, but I guess you're going to go with 10 hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay. Side games. Hunts, cards, chocobo racing, battle arena, etc. Do you want just one area where the side games are at?
So like what is it in 13? Serendipity Place or Gold Saucer. I think that's okay.
I think every Final Fantasy from now on needs a gold saucer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't want that to be the only thing though. I think hunts when done well are pretty fun, and even when done lukewarmly well, like FF15s, where there are some that are like really, really, really cool, and then most that are just like
Okay, hold on.
boring.
What game has the best hunt system?
I think FF12s.
FF12. I agree with you on FF12. Now, 13, I didn't do all the hunts on. 15, I did a lot of hunts on.
13's
13,
final
I did
one
like
is
12
insane.
hunts.
The last one in 13 is nuts, man. It's crazy. The last two, actually.
But
Fuck those guys.
the way the hunts were done in 12 is perfect. So I would say the hunts of 12,
Yeah, make him feel like a mark. Make him feel like a nuisance to society that someone wants dead.
the mini game center of FF7. So you would also, in addition to hunts, I don't think we need to do this thing where we pick one or the other. If they're going to take 10 years to make a Final Fantasy game, let's have everything in there.
Yeah.
So you got to have some place with a gold saucer type area. You got to have some place where you can ride a snowboard down a hill. And you gotta have a place where you can raise chocobos and race chocobos. I don't think it's a pick and choose what mini game we have. I think we should have all of the above.
Yeah.
There could even be like some really nerdy looking room in some little town that's like the card game room.
Yeah, that'd be fun,
We'll have like some variation on the previous card games.
Have
we
like an
played.
online thing, and you could play like liar's dice with your friends,
that'd
and,
be
like random shit.
I liked what Fable did, where it had the mini games in Fable 1, and you usually had like one or two little areas in each town where you could do that in Fable 1. And then they expanded upon it in 2 and 3, where you'd still have those games available, and then you'd have more stuff, and those games available, and have more stuff. The Final Fantasy games, for some reason, are like, these are what our mini games are going to be in this game. These are what our mini games are going to be in this game. It's like, come on. Well, I had fun in this other game with this. Can we have that and extra? Like, come on. Let's do that.
I don't know. I do like the variety. I don't think I really need a card game like what FF8 and 9 have, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool to play like fucking poker or some random ass like real game in there. But yeah, multiple side games. Some fishing mini game too. We gotta have the fishing mini game.
All right, music. Now, the author of this question says, never mind, if anyone doesn't choose Uematsu, they shouldn't be on the show. But maybe I have a different opinion. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll get Metallica to do the
You
music.
get Metallica to do the music?
Yeah. It'll be like playing Crisis Core but better. Where the
that's a
metal
good
is
point.
like really, really good instead of just
See,
like,
we played
awesome.
the spin-offs too, so we know that there's other composers that are pretty decent. Sometimes.
Yeah, whoever composed that was pretty awesome.
Crisis Core soundtrack was great. I think 15's soundtrack, it's not a very long soundtrack in comparison to the rest of the series. I think he's great too. Soken's pretty darn good.
Yeah, dude, one who did 15's a chick, but yeah.
Yeah.
She's worked on, I think she did Parasite Eve.
I think she did Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
So the music to that game is also like iconic.
Yeah.
So she's an amazing composer. I wish we could have her on and do more tracks. Not just 11 tracks like there were for 15 or whatever.
15's mostly forgettable except for the really good ones.
I don't think 15 is forgettable at all. I love that soundtrack. It's just not as long. So like Uematsu did like what did he do? Like 200 tracks for FF9. I feel like
there's
she doesn't put out as much material as he does.
Well, and there's a lot of...
But I think that, honestly, sonically, I like her stuff a little bit more. But Uematsu like is up there too. He's just had so much more. It's hard to judge.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably go with him, but I'd make him do more of a harder soundtrack, which we could do because
I would tell him you can't do any computery sounds. Like it has to be all real or real sounding.
Well, what if you gave him like the Doom,
like no electronic?
If you gave him Doom 2016, and that's what it came with, where it's like this distorted.
That would be not. That would not work for a Final Fantasy.
Come on!
It works for that game, with like the dubstep metal that's in Doom 2016.
I think it would work,
which is great, but it's different. It's Uematsu. If he did a score like he did with FF9, I would be very interested in that. I get a little annoyed when Uematsu starts doing the MIDI shit like he did in FF8.
Yeah.
So I would like the almost. I know he won't actually do it fully orchestrated, but where the synthesizer sounds like real instruments, that's what I would like. Instead of like, and I don't want the pop beats of FF13 or the boredom I feel when I listen to FF12 soundtrack. Maybe he and the 15 lady whose name I forgot.
I think it's
maybe
Yoko,
they could work together.
Yoko something.
Yeah,
that would be kind of cool. Yeah, character customization. Can you make your character anything? FF12, predetermined class, FF9, or middle-ish, FF10?
Predetermined class, but only classes that are used. Like I feel like FF10. Does anybody actually use Kimari? Of course, then now I'll have a bunch of messages. I use Kimari. Kimari's the best character in the game.
He is the blue mage, so
like,
people will. I like using him to get his abilities because I think it's fun to acquire them, but I don't actually use the guy now.
Yeah.
And the only time when I do is it's like, oh, he has armor penetration, and Orin's dead, so him.
But, I mean, like my main party would be like the white mage, Titus, and Oron.
No, man, it's the all man club.
Waka, Titus, and Oron.
Yeah,
right.
the fucking
and then occasionally
beat down.
switch Waka out with the white mage to heal the rest of the party.
Yeah. Because Waka just, I don't want to look at his hair anymore.
So maybe we don't need the speed class. Maybe we could exchange that with like a black mage, and then do a 4-party system. Which one of the games was a 4-party system?
There were a bunch of them in the beginning. Were 4.
Yeah, it was 4. Yeah, FF1 was 4-party. But do a 4-party system where characters aren't interchangeable.
I say 5-party system.
FF4, I believe, had a 5-party system.
Yeah, there were a couple where it's 5, I think, and it's hard to remember because. It's
and then
like,
you just have the good classes that everybody wants to use, so there's the variety already in there, and then you're not having one guy just be like the weak one behind.
Yeah,
which is always Lulu is the answer to that question. Is the answer to that, or like Riku. Riku was never used. Never.
I used her for the Machina because you can just tear them apart.
Oh yeah, that's right. But with every other thing in FF10, I remember
mix. You can do some sick damage if you mix the.
That's true.
The secret, I can't remember what they're called. They're like something secret. It does like a shitload. But yeah.
With every other thing though, it would just be like, okay, I'm fighting a flying guy, I'm fighting a mage creature, and I'm fighting an armored guy, and you got to just pull out those characters. But because you only had like those types being repeated over and over again, the balance of the game was out. So it's like I have no reason to use Kimari or Riku.
Pretty much, yeah, and it sucks because when you get to Kimari's like solo section of the game, you're like, oh fuck, this guy. Oh, this guy.
So I would want non-interchangeable predetermined classes. That's what I would want. So that the amount of characters in the game that are main characters that are playable characters do not exceed your party size. That's what I would want. So I'll go with the FF4 version.
So you have to use everybody.
I will go with 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Or I'll go with having 5 people in the party, so like an FF4-ish thing. FF4s. That's what I'll say for character customization.
Oh, predetermined. You know what? I think I like.
And in 6, it was a big problem because you had too many guys, and then at the end, when you had to split everybody into 3,
It was not
like,
an even
oh,
balance.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you had to do Mog, and you had to basically just run past everything.
I'd have Mog be with the weak dudes. So that I
it was
hit
rough.
Anybody. Yeah,
it was rough until we got to the final fight and your beatdown party. The guys who were like, yeah, these guys are coming in here with me, and the game was like, psych, everybody's coming. But those guys, when you got to Kefka, you just slaughter them. But yeah, I think I would go. Shit, I kind of, you know what? I might go predetermined as well. I like the FF12 thing, but I also don't like it. So it's like a weird mix to me because I enjoy.
Yeah,
being
this
able
one's
to,
not as important to me as some of the other ones.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to do whatever you want. And I really like Final Fantasy Tactics for this, as far as like how you can create your characters and how you can go like throughout the story. Because in Tactics, I kept most of the people kind of in similar spots. So like Ramza was like a beatdown guy, and he was a beatdown guy the whole time. Unless I needed like an ability from this class or that class, but that was just to support his ability to fucking slaughter with little to no relenting, right? So I really like that a lot. And then the fun thing about Tactics also is you can start a new game and you could go a completely different direction with them. Like you can be like, all right, well, this time I'm not going to do mages, but I'm going to do, you know, a bunch of other different types of physical damage and like do like, you know, the geomancer. So I'll do magic in a way, but it'll be with physical, and you can kind of have a similar experience where this character is this class, but he's a different class than he was last time I played the game. So there's variety to be had there, but I kind of like the predetermined classes because it gives the characters their own identities, and it makes it less of a cookie cutter person by the end of the game. And I know each character has their own stats and stuff, but like in OG FF12, I mean, max damage is max damage. You know, in the Zodiac Age, you can do a lot more than 10,000 damage with things, and it counts because the game actually decided that yes, you can do 20,000 damage with a hit. But in that game, in the OG one, you can't really. So like it doesn't really matter that they have their own slightly different stats when everybody's doing max damage with every hit, you know? So I kind of like having each character with their own class, each character kind of set up a certain way, and you can make them better in their own way. And it makes you have to play the game, and it makes the game challenging in its own way. Like it's kind of annoying when most of the Final Fantasy games, like when they become difficult, you can just go grind for like 6 hours and then you could just waste the rest of the game. One of the things that made 13 so challenging was that they blocked off the Crystarium. They were like, you unlock this as you go because we don't want this to be easy for you. And that's fun because that makes the game a challenge. That makes
Some
you
people
actually
get mad
have
at that,
to.
though.
Oh, it's a pain in the ass, and it's frustrating, but it makes you have to be decent at the game to beat the game. I don't think the game should just be, oh, I'm going to go grind until you're nothing. You know, I think it should be like, well, I can grind a bunch.
Yeah, he didn't.
But you can still kill me.
None of the options here were challenge level.
Yeah, I would say that
I'd
this
say
is
13 would be the perfect one for that too.
Yeah, or Vagrant Story, you know. Just like,
no, that's save points too
turn
far
your balls
away.
into
That's like FF3. Like
turn
the
your
challenge,
balls into the punching bag thing.
If you're gonna have a high challenge game, give us lots of saves. That's what I ask for.
Or a retry button for
a retry
specific
button.
fight. Yeah, that would be
perfect.
nice.
A retry button. If you don't give us the retry button, give us at least the ability to skip cutscenes. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. Story. Would you like to have... Now, this is story tone, I would say what this is, because obviously there's no way to like predetermine what the story is. Would you want it a lighter story? I would say like FF4-ish. You know, it just has a lighter tone. FF5. There's, of course, dark moments in all these games, so it's kind of tough to say that. Or would you want it like a darker game, like FF7 or FF15?
Always darker.
Me too. I'm kind of, it's just like usually when the story's a little bit darker, a little bit more serious, then the conflict is a little bit higher. And, there's a little bit more to kind of dig into plot-wise. It doesn't mean it always has to be that way. There's some like really great, light-hearted stories, but I'd have, as I've gone through these games, like FF6 is a pretty dark story. It's got its really light moments sometimes, but it's still like I kind of prefer that.
Yeah.
FF10 is a weird one because I think its story is pretty dark, but its tone is really light.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So that was an odd one. So I'm not sure like how to answer that question, but I would say darker. Yeah. Or like a perfect balance. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, villain. Would you want a pure evil villain, a tortured villain, misunderstood, trying to do good by doing evil, or random things you've never met until the final battle, etc.?
Well, definitely not the first and last ones.
Okay, you don't want pure evil.
Not really. It's just not. It's not really.
So you don't want
interesting.
Kefka.
No, it's overblown and it's overdone in the series, especially in this series, which is surprising. I mean, we've talked about this multiple times. We're like Eastern style of thinking. It's one way, and it's like everybody's kind of good and evil. The whole yin yang thing. There's a balance, and some of the earlier games play with that, but really, most of the series, it's just evil or good. And even if they're trying to do good by being evil, it's just an evil thing. So it's like a really shitty attempt at making it seem good. Like Seymour, trying to do good by doing evil. He's like, I want to get rid of the pain in the world, so I'm going to kill everybody. That's just a stupid way of saying I'm just pure evil. I'm going to kill everybody. You know, that's not really there's not really a plight that he has. He doesn't have good moments. In addition to that, he's kind of just an asshole the whole time. So he's a really westernized bad guy. So I don't understand what Final Fantasy's issue is with that. They just can't.
It's a series that loves Western stuff.
They just can't handle it. It's too bad. It's really too bad.
I think there's good versions of all these types of bad guys.
Yeah, there are. Kefka is a good pure evil bad guy. He's fun, I guess, but. I prefer a misunderstood, or maybe a try to do good by doing evil.
Try to do good by doing evil is always interesting, or they think what they're doing is good.
Yeah, like the dude from Spirits Within, like the bad guy in there.
Yeah.
That was kind of a nice balance of. Yeah. He was like, well, shit.
I mean, it's hard to say which one we would want. I just want an interesting one.
Yeah,
that's all. And it's usually going to be more interesting if it's one of the misunderstood or tortured variety. Okay, our last category here. Would you want it to have a medieval setting, like Evil East, or like the FF9 world, I would say, although that's slightly steampunky.
Yeah.
Would you like to have it be a futuristic world, like FF13? I would say FF15 is the same way, even though the one kingdom doesn't kind of go that way. It's still a futuristic world. FF7, I think, is a futuristic world as well.
8 sometimes.
8 is definitely a futuristic world. It's
modern
a little different
and futuristic. At the same time.
It's kind of like it's 20 years forward plus magic. That's what FF8 is. Or would you like to have it, pure steampunk like many of them? FF1 is also like a medieval one.
I kind of like
the first 5 are kind of medieval ones.
I kind of like the medieval setting more.
You do?
Yeah, I think it's more fun.
I feel like we get so many medieval setting RPGs though that aren't Final Fantasy. Almost all Western RPGs are medieval setting RPGs. Almost all of them. I guess Red Dead's an RPG, right? No, okay, never mind.
No.
I'm just gonna shut up now. Then
I would say Grand Theft Auto is probably more of an
or
RPG,
Mass Effect,
which
or
is
some shit.
Kind
of
sad, but yeah.
But most of the time, it's Skyrim, it's Fable, it's a bunch of all Western RPGs are always medieval. So I almost like the steampunk variety of the Final Fantasy games. I don't think you get that very often. So I'm going to go with steampunk. Something in between futuristic and medieval.
It is true. We do get a lot of the medieval, but I still like it as a setting.
But I like games in all 3 of these categories. So I'm not going to
Yeah. You won't crap on one
I'm
category.
not going to crap on
anything.
one category. It just feels like for variety's sake, if you're going to pick from those 3 categories that we've had Final Fantasy in, I'll go with the steampunk today. Tomorrow I might say medieval though.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we do get a lot of medieval settings for a lot of different RPGs, and even Final Fantasies. They've had their fair share of medieval settings. I think a lot of them worked out pretty well.
All right.
So it's not really a bad area for the series to go. But
Are you checking reviews right now? Is that what you're doing?
yeah, I'm looking.
You're looking to see if we have any?
Yeah, we might have to drop that no reviews.
Well, we're already at an hour 40. We could probably just wrap it up right now and remind people to
leave reviews.
To please, first off, to leave reviews. Thank you. And then another thing is we're definitely 100%. I think I've said this before, unfortunately, but I swear to God, this week, 100% going to be done with Vagrant Story by next week. So if you haven't already left your review or your question, there's a place in the forum to do both.
Yeah, where we foolishly thought we would have it done.
And we will, by God, get Vagrant Story done before next week. So please review that stuff. We're going to have a nice girthy review of Vagrant Story coming up.
That's right.
Otherwise, you know where to find us. You know how to support us. Check out Nude Clan and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Enjoy the Vagrant Story platform.